humble beginnings to bold reboots, Crash has come a long way. He's had his highs and his lows, his ins and his outs. Now it's time to end it, once and for all. Until Crystal's Wrath comes out anyway. And since Pat would rather spend time at the casino instead of helping me record footage, I had to get it from someone else. So special thanks to NZ0X for allowing me to borrow his footage. A link for his channel is in the description. Go check him out when this review is over. Now, without further ado, it's time for my Crash Mind Over Mutant review. That rhymed. Let's start this shit already! Now, while it might surprise you, especially after watching this review, I actually like Titans. A lot. So when I saw that this game had a sequel, I was ready to explode. From the trailers, it looked awesome. However, when I played the game, it was better than The Wrath of Cortex? Crash Mind Over Mutant is a direct sequel to Crash of the Titans that surpasses its predecessor in every way conceivable. Or strives to, anyway. Mind Over Mutant takes place after the ending of Titans. The Doominator fell on Wumpa Island, and the Bandicoots just kinda left it there. The rest of their days were spent chilling out, maxing, relaxing, all cool and all, shooting some people outside of school. Since they weren't doing anything important, they decided to see if they could turn the Doominator into an entertainment system. Meanwhile, Cortex has sent Nina to Evil Public School and has teamed up with his old assistant, Embryo. Embryo and Cortex have begun making devices called NVs. The NV is advertised as the ultimate entertainment system. In short, it's what you get from combining an iPhone with an Oculus Rift. However, the NVs also have the ability to control the minds of the users, turning them into mindless slaves. These devices have been shipped to the Bandicoot's house, and Coco and Crunch have been taken over by the NV. Now Crash has to save them and stop Dr. Cortex from shipping them all over the world. The game is obviously a direct sequel to Titans in that none of the characters get proper introduction. It's not like Aku Aku is seen first in like a cutscene, he just starts reciting tutorials out of nowhere. It makes the game feel less like a sequel and more like the second episode in a series. And sadly, we Crash fans would never get an episode 3. Mutants is accustomed much more to the likes of a platformer rather than a beat-em-up in that there's too much damn Crash. Seriously, I'm like 3 levels in and I haven't seen a single Titan yet.
Where are they?
If you can believe it, this game actually does have Titans, and they are probably the best part of this game. The Titans can now get in on the platforming with you as they can jump. This game also introduces pocketing. By pressing the R2 button, you can store or pocket your Titan, then bring it out later when you need it. This is really awesome as it does a good job meshing the platforming and beat-em-up segments. Gameplay-wise, it's a game that fans of the older games will be much more comfortable getting behind. However, the fact that the game feels like Crash of the Titans Episode 2 kinda ruins that, as most people playing this game won't have any fraction of an idea what the hell is going on, provided they didn't already play Titans, which, I might add, is a game that ruined quite a few childhoods. And I mean like a lot of childhoods. Most of the Titans in this game are repeats, like the Spike and the Snipe. However, this game introduces a few new Titans as well, such as the Grimly or the TK. Most of these Titans come with some sort of gimmick. Some good, others bad. The Grimly has the power to control time, which I found to be pretty fun. However, then there come 2 Titans, both great contenders for the worst Titan in any Crash game. There's the TK, which can control enemies with its mind. However, its controls are just so finicky. Whenever you aim it, it constantly shifts to other items that you don't mean to aim at. Then there's also the Rhino Roller returning from Titans, but this time he can't get out of his ball shape. He feels ridiculously slow and clumsy, although I will say that a majority of the returning Titans have improved, with a few exceptions. The Ratsicle can now freeze pools of water. The Snipe has a rapid fire move instead of his shitty special from Titans, and the Battler still can't use his wings.
Now that's top quality!
Mutants levels are not divided by a level select menu from Titans, but instead accessed the same way you would access areas in Crash Insanity, or more specifically Jak and Daxter, as the game is now free roam. You aren't teleported from place to place, but instead you have to travel there. This, in theory, sounds pretty interesting, but instead it's used as an excuse to make the game feel a lot longer than it actually is. Because holy fuck, this game has an asinine amount of backtracking. The whole game is about 5 to 6 hours, but I would say that a good half of that was spent backtracking or covering paths that I already took once. Also, the game lacks a real sense of proper direction. If I didn't have YouTube, I would have been lost on a few occasions. Plus, there were times where I did get lost and had to do a ridiculous amount of backtracking just to get on the path to where I was supposed to go. This is probably the worst part of the game. The game also lacks an excuse for making you travel between places. There's a part of the game where they make you go to the desert to find a Rhino Roller, which you have to bring back to the Ratsicle village. So, you go to the desert and grab one, then come all the way back to find that they're willing to just give you one in case you lost your old one. What the fuck was the point of going to the desert if you're just gonna give it to me anyway? You're forced to travel places to get Titans that later just show up without warning, all stunned and ready for you to control them. There's no life counter either. Although maybe this is for the better, as I found myself dying tons of times, but not in fights with Titans, but just the regular platforming. This is likely because of the awkward controls. I didn't bring this up in my Titans review, but Crash's controls were a little awkward in that game. It didn't feel like he moved very nicely when off the ground. When he got in the air, you didn't have much control. However, this wasn't too big a problem, as the game had a hovering move, which you can use to safely escort yourself onto a platform. This was a huge help, and what's important to note is that Titans was mostly a beat-em-up. Sure, it had some platforming in it, but it was primarily a beat-em-up. Mutants is a full-on platformer. We should have better controls. However, we get the same weird controls from earlier, but with no hovering move. The platforming is incredibly awkward. You can't use Aku Aku as a surfboard, which really helped when the game droned on. Spinning is not done by rotating the analog stick and pressing the square button, but rather by just spinning the analog stick. There have also been too many times to count where I accidentally started spinning. It's incredibly annoying. Since the levels are divided among a hub and not a menu, you can't easily go back to old levels. You also aren't ranked at the end of each level. Costumes aren't in this game either. This game is both incredibly short, but also lacks any real engaging replay value. You can't easily go back to old levels like in Titans. You can go back and collect shit if you really like to, but not having a level select makes it a real hassle. Then there's the co-op in this game. Now, I can't judge the co-op too much as I haven't gotten my hands on it, but from what I've seen, it doesn't look like the game has a way of focusing the camera on two players, meaning one player can just wander off screen and won't come back until they get in your backpack. However, instead of the backpack, you now get to play as a mask, which can fire chickens, so that's pretty awesome, I guess. I'm not going to criticize this game's co-op as I haven't tried it out for myself, but I don't think it looks particularly fun. Okay, and I need to ask this. What the fuck is wrong with this game's graphics? I mean, sure, the models on the Titans and such look nice, but look at the backgrounds of some of these levels. It's so damn obvious that they're using 2D images. Mutants also recycles a lot of Titans assets. All of the Titans sound the same, and some of the music was reused. This game's cutscenes, however, I found to be quite original. The cutscenes are all 2D, and each is done in a different style of animation. People complained about this, saying that it gave them headaches. These are probably the same people who think that Aku Aku sounds like a gangster, aka fucking retarded children, because Aku Aku's voice just screams gangster to me.
I'm just saying. No, you're just speaking for me! Like I ain't got the goddamn sense to speak for myself! What's the matter with you? You can't take an ass-beating bitch!
I gotta say, I listened to this game's soundtrack and it is awesome! I like Titan's music a lot, but Mutants is marginally better. The music is upbeat, it's fast, it's badass, it's memorable, and most importantly, it's just so fucking awesome! Crash Mind Over Mutants strives to surpass Titans in every way, but fails on practically every other aspect. It definitely did play some of its cards right, like the incredibly badass Titans and the awesome soundtrack. However, at the same time, it suffers from a number of problems. The graphics look weird, the platforming is awkward, the game is too easy, and worst of all, the backtracking is absurd. Crash Mind Over Mutant is a mediocre game. Well, it looks like this is the last Crash review. Tune in next time to see me list the games from worst to best, and also to see what you can expect from this channel.